How to start studying when you feel frozen. If you've ever sat down to study and felt completely stuck, not distracted, not lazy, just frozen, like you wanted to start, you know you should start, but your body and your brain just won't cooperate, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Amy. I'm a college ADHD coach and a behavior analyst, and I help students build real-life executive functioning skills so that college feels doable and not overwhelming. You can find us at collegeadhdcoach.com. You can find us on College ADHD Coach on Instagram and TikTok, and we're here to help you survive and thrive in college even when you have ADHD. Here's news for you. That stuck feeling is not procrastination. It's not a motivation problem. And it's definitely not a character flaw. It's a task initiation problem. And task initiation is actually a skill. And skills you can learn. So let's name what this actually looks like. You might sit at your desk and stare at your laptop. You might open a document and immediately close it. You might scroll on your phone. You might pace. You might reorganize your kitchen cabinets or do your laundry instead of just starting the thing you know you need to do. You might feel super anxious, heavy, and suddenly exhausted and just absolutely collapsed. And internally, you might sound like, I don't even know where to start. This feels like too much, and I'll just do it later when I feel more ready. That's not avoidance because you don't care or because you're a bad student. That's actually your brain hitting a wall of a demand that you're unsure exactly how to start or how to initiate. Especially for ADHD and executive functioning challenging brains, this starting actually feels harder than it actually ends up being to just do the task. So why is starting so hard? Here's the key thing that most people don't understand. Starting a task requires more executive functioning than actually doing the task. So to start studying, your brain has to decide what to work on, decide how to work on it, estimate the effort and time, regulate your emotions about whether or not you're actually skilled enough to do the task in the first place, and then transition from one state of being into another. That's a whole lot of things. And when all of that happens at once, your brain can go into shutdown. And not because you're broken, but because you're just overloaded. And that freeze is a protective response from your brain and your nervous system. Your nervous system is saying, this feels too big. I don't see a clear path forward, so I'm just gonna shut down. So I've made it sound really easy, right? The problem is you just need to start. So why don't things like just start, push through it, just be more disciplined actually work? I mean, how many times have you just been told in one way or another, just try harder? It's not an actual strategy. And actually, it usually makes things worse. Because when starting already feels unsafe and overwhelming, adding that pressure increases your anxiety. It doesn't actually inspire you to take action. And then students start telling themselves, what is wrong with me? And it actually makes your shutdown worse. Here's the reframe that I would love it if you would consider. If you feel frozen, the task is just poorly designed. It's not too hard. It's not too much. It's just not broken down in a way that your brain can enter easily. So the solution isn't more willpower. The solution is redesigning the start. Your brain doesn't need the whole plan. It just needs a safe first step. I like the metaphor of a swimming pool. Have you seen the swimming pools where there's zero entry, so you can just like walk in without having to go down any stairs? Your brain just needs a zero entry swimming pool instead of having to climb a ladder or go off the diving board. It needs that safe first step. A safe first step is not go study your biology, work on your paper, and catch up. That's not a first step. But open the study guide that the professor posted on Canvas is a first step. Write 3 questions that you have about the assignment, also a first step. Set a 5-minute timer and simply read the instructions on the assignment so that you know what to do is another first step. Label the document that I'm going to place my notes into. That's also a first step. A good rule of thumb for first steps is it should take you under 2 minutes. It should require no actual decision making, and it should not depend on motivation for you to be capable of doing it. If the step feels too easy, that's good. That means it's perfect, because that's how you can actually get action and movement, which is ultimately what builds momentum. So starting is harder when everything lives inside your head. So we really need to externalize all of these things. And so when I say that, what do I mean? It looks like a written checklist, a pre-made study plan, a timer that you're not going to negotiate with, or sitting with somebody else and body doubling and telling them, I'm going to do this right now, going and doing it and coming back and being like, okay, I did it. Sometimes we need that accountability. The environment tells you what to do next. Your brain doesn't have to make all those decisions. And so this is why studying alone is often harder and why body doubling works so well. One of the biggest shifts that I see students make in coaching is this. You don't actually prepare all the things during study time. You actually prepare for study time. So that means that you're going to write questions when you're in class or as you're doing the reading the first time. That you're going to decide what you're going to work on before you actually sit down, and that you're going to turn assignments into steps ahead of time. You might need help from a coach to do this, but when you do this, it definitely pays off. When study time arrives, you're not asking yourself, what do I need to do? What should I do? There are no decisions to be made. You literally know exactly where to start. The difference in this is everything. Knowing exactly what you're going to do when to start means that the literal first step is sitting your butt in the chair, which is a lot easier than having to make all those decisions about where to get started. So sometimes remember that freezing isn't about the task. It's about the emotions that we've attached to the task. It's about fear of failure. It's about the fear of getting it wrong. It's about the fear of realizing that you don't understand. So what we need to do to make ourselves safe is to lower the stakes. So we need to tell ourselves, I'm just starting this. I'm not finishing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is the draft, not the final. And this is information and feedback, not an actual test. You're not committing to absolute success. You're just committing to being engaged and trying. If you've tried all of this and you're still frozen, that's also not failure. It's just information. And it means that you might need more structure. You might need some external accountability, and you might need someone to help you break those tasks down even further. You might need support regulating the emotional side of learning. And that's where coaching, individual intensive coaching, and group coaching like ADHD can come in and be invaluable. Not to push you, but to hold the structure while you build your skills. If you take nothing else from this video, I really want you to take this. Being frozen doesn't mean you're lazy or incapable of being a college student. I've seen far too many semesters completely collapse over the littlest things when they just didn't have to. It simply means that your brain needs an on-ramp. Starting is the biggest skill in college, and skills can be learned with the right support. So if this video helped you, save it, share it with somebody else who's stuck, and remember, you don't need more pressure. You just need a better learning design. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if it was, and if you have any questions, or what's the biggest thing you struggle with during the semester.